Manchester City handed major Premier League opportunity after 6-point swing. Manchester City showed improvement in their last 4 Premier League games and have a big chance to show more progress. Things looked bleak for Manchester City at the end of August, but Pep Guardiola could at least take solace in the fact that his team's results had not got even worse. Defeats at home to Tottenham and away to Brighton sucked the optimism out of their start, yet were exactly the same reverses that they suffered last season. That was hardly comforting given City want to do much better and have spent £350 million this year to do so. Given they secured a top 3 finish last year though with a points tally of 71, there is plenty of room for improvement. Guardiola's side started on that road in September, beating United at home to avenge that miserable home defeat to Ruben Amorim's side last December. They followed that up by getting a point at Arsenal, that could have been all 3, and then held on at Brentford to grind out a 1-0 win, where last year they surrendered a 2-goal lead. Those improvements totted up mean City have already picked up 6 extra points based on last season's results. Considering they only finished 3 points behind Arsenal last year and 13 behind leaders Liverpool, that is promising. What is even better for them is that by the time the November international break rolls around, City's net improvement in points could have jumped from 6 to 14. It starts on Saturday when City host Everton at the Etihad. Last season, a dreary Boxing Day draw was at least a point to celebrate in the middle of an awful run of form. But the Blues need to be looking to win these games if they are to mount a title challenge, and this is an opportunity to improve by another 2 points. The following week is more daunting, but also a nightmare nostalgia trip back to last December. Villa away was one of the first games in years where City hadn't been pre-match favourites, and they certainly lived up to that billing with a rather flattering scoreline of 1-2. Unai Emery's side are showing a few signs of life, but it has been a tough start for them that included a 3-0 loss at home to Palace in August. A draw for City would be an improvement on last year, and 3 points would be huge. City will then have another tricky task in early November to match the home win against Bournemouth they secured in Kevin De Bruyne's final game at the Etihad. Andoni Iraola's side have improved again, despite losing several of their best players in summer, and will come to Manchester with no fear looking to claim another scalp. The last chance for more points in this next block of fixtures comes with the visit of champions Liverpool. Mo Salah and his men were so far ahead of City both home and away last season, it made for uncomfortable viewing for Blues, and summed up the lack of resistance City had to their title being taken away. Avoiding another defeat will not be easy, yet any points City can get from this fixture will ensure not only that Liverpool do not get any further ahead of them this year, but also that Guardiola's side are putting together the sort of points total that will put them in the title race. The Premier League goal-scoring record Erling Haaland is yet to break at Manchester City. Erling Haaland continues to rip up the record books at Manchester City, but there is one goal-scoring feat he will have his eyes on. Erling Haaland to score looks like the banker in every game the Norwegian plays at the moment. The Manchester City striker has scored in 11 of his 12 games for club and country this season, including all of his last 10. Those 10 games have yielded 19 goals in total, and a striker who rewrites the record books on a regular basis is doing so again. His hat-trick for Norway on Saturday took him to 51 goals in 46 caps and made him the 5th fastest to a half-century of international goals in history, just edging out Pelé, who took 49 games. That's not bad company to be keeping, and the 25-year-old has looked a different beast this season, buoyed at the Etihad by leadership responsibilities and content off the pitch after the birth of his first child. He's making goal scoring look easier than ever this season, and it's hard to envisage a team keeping him out at the moment. Having been excused from Norway's friendly with New Zealand on Tuesday, he will have his sights set on Everton this weekend and will be looking to devour the Toffees. There aren't many Premier League records that Haaland doesn't already hold. He has scored 94 goals in 104 games in the competition since his £51 million move to City. His tally of 36 in 2022/23 was a record, and he has now scored at 22 of the 23 Premier League grounds he has played at, with just Anfield to tick off the list. Carry on at the same rate, and Haaland will eclipse Alan Shearer's competition record of 260 goals within the next 5 or 6 seasons. But there is one record he is yet to trouble, although he could be halfway there this weekend. That is Jamie Vardy's record of scoring in 11 successive Premier League matches between August 2015 and November 2015, which itself came during Leicester City's stunning 2015/16 title success. Vardy broke the record previously held by Ruud van Nistelrooy, who scored in 10 consecutive league games for United across the end of the 2002/03 and start of the 2003/04 seasons. Then there are 4 more players who have managed a streak of goals in 8 straight games, a list which features Vardy and Van Nistelrooy again, as well as Daniel Sturridge and Alexander Isak. Haaland's best return is only scoring in 7 straight Premier League matches, which came in his first few months at the Etihad. He then managed 6 in a row between March and April 2023 and 5 in a row early in the 2024/25 season. His current streak stands at 5, having scored against Brighton, Manchester United, Arsenal, Burnley and Brentford. If he nets against Everton this week, he will hit 6, and although Vardy's record will still look distant, perhaps it will be coming into view. He will then face Aston Villa away and Bournemouth at home to try and hit a personal best of scoring in 8 games in a row before an Etihad fixture with Liverpool. It shows how impressive Vardy's feat was that if Haaland was to equal it, he would only do so against Leeds on November 29th, and if he was to break it, that would happen on December 3rd against Fulham. Those dates feel a long way away right now. But the way Haaland has started this season, extending this streak a little further yet seems possible. He could get close at some point down the line as well, even if he suddenly draws a blank. But while every goal takes him closer to Shearer's record, he will have to start chasing down Vardy again if his current run comes to a halt. Manchester City have a top player in the making, and he's doing 3 things to raise excitement levels. Sverre Nypan has impressed at Middlesbrough. Having joined the Championship club on loan from Manchester City this summer, Sverre Nypan was one of the most talked about talents in Europe this summer. The Norwegian prospect had been linked with most of the top clubs across the continent, having starred for Rosenborg in his homeland. Excitement levels have surrounded the 18-year-old since he made his senior debut aged just 14, and it was Manchester City who swooped to win the race for his signature. The plan was always for him to depart on loan, and City wanted a British destination to help the midfielder adapt to football on these shores. A move to Middlesbrough was agreed, and Nypan has since featured 7 times for Rob Edwards' side in what has been a strong start to the season for Boro. We spoke to Teesside Live's Middlesbrough reporter Craig Johns for the lowdown on Nypan and what City can expect in the future, with the teenager already displaying a strong work ethic, elite mentality and a desire not to shirk situations. Reasonably well so far, albeit in an attack that isn't quite functioning as well as they'd hope at the moment. Nypan was one of 4 new attacking players who arrived at the club this summer, and as a result, they're all still lacking that connection at the moment, while all also getting up to speed with the English game, because they've all come from leagues abroad. Nypan obviously via a quick whistle stop in Manchester. In many ways, Rob Edwards is still learning each of his new attacking players too, and how Boro can set up and play in a manner that will get the best out of them. To Nypan's credit though, he's not shirked anything yet, and looks to get involved in games as much as he possibly can, whether that's starting or coming on from the bench. Edwards is a coach who likes to change a lot in game too, so for such a young player, he's reacted well when perhaps starting as a 10, and then being switched to a more standard central midfield role, or vice versa. He's still trying to get up to speed, as are Boro, from an attacking sense in general. As such, he's yet to really stand tall and have a major influence on a game as yet. Nevertheless, there have been flashes of his potential and technical ability to offer enough encouragement that it will come. What's been so clear so far is that he's a very good player, and one who has a very good mentality too. Playing in England for the first time at just 18, Nypan has never once looked daunted. He works as hard for the team out of possession as he does on the ball. For many of the reasons noted above, he hasn't yet been able to make a huge impact and really take control and influence games or provide any big moments. It's in doing one or the other that will ultimately usually determine if a midfielder/attacking midfielder can make it at the very highest level. He's young, and you'd hope that will come as he adapts to his surroundings, and his coaches and teammates pinpoint how to get the best out of him also. It was always felt there might need to be a little patience. But what he's already shown is that he has the ability, and he also has the mindset. Manchester City set new target as fixture schedule finally works to their favour. Manchester City enjoyed a good run between the September and October international break, and they can look to the same again over the next month. The staccato rhythm of the early weeks of the Premier League season can be frustrating for fans and can make storylines hard to follow, with a run of games interrupted by an international break in September, October and November. What the breaks do allow, however, are a chance to analyse and maybe overanalyse how a team has started and debate what might be going right or wrong. But conclusions drawn in September can look foolish by October, and for Manchester City, that has certainly been the case this season. When they lost to Tottenham and Brighton before the first international break of the season, there was concern that this was going to be a lot like last year, and that a title challenge already felt a distant dream. That 2-week pause allowed a chance to reset, and when the action resumed, City won the Manchester derby 3-0 to start a run of 7 games that produced 5 wins and 2 draws. Now, they feel like genuine contenders once again. You could argue City have been robbed of momentum with this